Picture this scenario. Production line just went down. You're already behind on your shift targets and the pressure's mounting from upper management because the customer shipments are at risk. And right when you need your team to pull together, you need to deal with one of those people. You know exactly who I'm talking about. It's the individual who starts complaining loudly to everyone, pointing fingers at another department, or perhaps just crossing their arms and shutting down completely. Handling difficult behaviors when the pressure is high is one of the most dreaded parts of leadership in manufacturing. It drains your energy, it kills productivity, and it creates a toxic environment on the shop floor. But it absolutely does not need to be this way. Today, we're going to discuss exactly how to handle difficult behaviors without losing your cool. Let us talk about what is really happening in your brain when someone starts acting out on the floor. I call this the spam filter detection. As human beings, our brains are hardwired for survival. When you're faced with a difficult employee being aggressive, uncooperative, or dismissive, your brain instantly perceives a threat. It bypasses logic and jumps straight into flight, fright, or freeze mode. You might feel a sudden urge to argue back or pull rank and assert your authority. You might want to walk away and hide in your office to avoid the conflict altogether. Or you might just stand there stunned, unsure what to say or do next. The reaction is completely normal. Since many leaders in manufacturing are promoted because they were great at their old technical jobs, they rarely get the formal training in how to handle difficult human behaviors. So it's no wonder that you might feel powerless in these high-stress moments. But here's the practical truth that you need to hear. You can control your brain. You can learn to override that natural reflex. You can train yourself to stay calm, to filter out that emotional spam, and keep your focus strictly on the ideal outcome that you need for your shift. This brings us to what I call the dopamine difference. Learning to stay calm under pressure is an absolute superpower for any leader. When you take a breath and consciously choose your response instead of simply reacting to the chaos, your brain will reward you. You experience a release of dopamine. You feel a profound sense of control, and your confidence as a leader goes up. That calm, steady energy is exactly what your team needs to see when things are going wrong. When you do not feed into the drama, the difficult behaviors loses its fuel entirely. It has nowhere to go. Instead of escalating that conflict, you de-escalate it. This allows you to get operational results that you need. You get the equipment running faster, and you're able to reduce your scrap. You keep your workforce engaged and focused on continuous improvement. This is how you move from constant firefighting to true effective leadership. Think of yourself like the emotional rotor for your entire department, your team. They constantly pick up on your signal. If you broadcast that stress and panic and frustration, they will log that right into the network and act the same way. But if you use emotional intelligence, you can bypass that stress, the buildup from feeling out of control. You see, emotional intelligence is the foundation for handling anyone in your plant. Instead of looking at the rigid list of rules, let us walk you through what it looks like when you're standing on the floor dealing with that pushback. Behavior number 1 is the blamer. Imagine you're trying to resolve an issue and you're met with someone who constantly points the fingers. We call this person the blamer. They will immediately tell you it is maintenance fault, or it's the previous shift's fault, or it's the material's faults. That's because they refuse to take ownership for anything. Your first instinct might be to argue back and show the facts to prove them wrong. However, if you argue, they will just defend themselves and position even harder. The most practical step you can take is to acknowledge their frustration briefly and immediately pivot the conversation. Redirect their focus to finding solutions by asking them directly what can be done right now with the resources we have to get this line running. By shifting them from the past to the present, you cut off the blame. Then Then you can hold them accountable for the next step. Make it perfectly clear that finding a practical solution is part of their job. You simply ask them to investigate one specific area and report back into you in maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Behavior number 2 is the chronic complainer. Next, let's go over there and we'll see that this individual who finds negativity in every new initiative, every process change, and every daily target. They can drain the morale right out of the room. When they start venting, the goal is not to silence them completely, but to put a strict time boundary on their negativity. Let them voice their concern for exactly 1 or 2 minutes, and then you firmly cut it off. You must protect your own time and the team's energy. Once they've spoken, ask for a concrete solution. Say to them, I hear what you're saying about the new procedure. What is one practical thing that you would like to change to make it work better? This forces them to use their brain to solve the problem, not just complain about it. Through this entire interaction, it is vital that you do not validate the negativity. Stay completely neutral. Keep your tone and professional calm. If they see that they cannot get an emotional reaction out of you, they will eventually stop trying. Behavior number 3 is the silent resistor. So here, this might be one of the most dangerous behaviors on the floor. This is the person who nods yes in the shift huddle, agrees with the plan, but then goes out on the floor and does whatever they want, not what we planned. To handle this effectively, you need to stop doing all the talking during your interactions. Ask open-ended questions. Make them explain their understanding of the task back to you. Ask them exactly how they plan to execute the standard operating procedure. Once they commit, do not wait until the end of shift to see if they followed the instructions. Go out into their work area early and observe them in action. Verify the work is being done correctly. If you see a discrepancy, address it directly but privately. Pull them aside and mention that you noticed they agreed to the plan in the morning but took a completely different approach on the line. Ask them to talk about why they did this. This holds them to their commitments and shows that you're paying attention. Now, you are going to run into the blamer, the chronic complainer, and the silent resistor for sure in manufacturing. Whether they are pointing fingers or draining the energy out of the room or quietly ignoring the standard procedures, you need to address them. I've seen these exact scenarios for over 30 years on the shop floor. And it is simply the reality of working with people in fast-paced, high-pressure environments. But those behaviors do not need to derail your day. They don't need to ruin your schedule. And they don't need to drive you crazy. You can do this. You have the ability to override your natural reflexes, to stay calm and in control. When you master your own reactions, you master the situation. This approach allows you to reduce conflict and you get measurable operational results. That is what your company needs, and it helps your team excel. If you found this practical advice helpful, be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel so more people can see this material. Remember, leadership is a journey, and you can grow new leadership skills every single day. And if this is something that you're wrestling with in your team, a focused conversation can help. Click the link in the description and book a free clarity session so we can start to fix what's causing it. Or maybe you'd like to start our Essential Leadership course, which is a small collection of sessions from our exclusive online learning academy. And you can try it for free by clicking the link below. Do not wait. We are always here to help you excel.